Okay. I don't totally know if it's working or if you can hear me. There is like a very noticeable lag on my part. Just let me know if it's normal or if it's like really intolerable. Um, if that's the case, I can restart the computer. Ugh. Um, does it seem okay? Audio work? Everybody has audio? Okay. This is my very first live stream. I don't really know what I'm doing. So last Friday I watched Ryan Little do this really awesome live stream. If you don't know Ryan Little, I use a ton of his music in my YouTube videos. He's awesome. Most of the beats in my videos are from him, and he's really cool because he'll like reach out to the content creators who use his music. Love him. So I was like, all right, I need to do a live stream. Is everything still working? Audio's working? We out here. Awesome. So, welcome to the first live stream. I never live streamed before, but I always like wanted to. But I feel like anything could go wrong. I have a runny nose. Who knows? Ethan could knock something over. This is the first official Quicken live stream. And thank you guys. I had no idea that my like test from yesterday turned into a video. Until I got a message that was like, "Did you butt dial YouTube?" And I was like, "Fuck, whoops." I was at the grocery store. But yeah, so I'm trying to read some of these comments. So, is anybody watching the Nick's Face Awards? I think yesterday was the cutoff for submissions. If you guys, hold on, someone said to turn up the volume. I have it maximum, so let me get a little closer. Does that help? Did that help at all? So hopefully that helped. So the Nick's Face Awards, if you guys don't watch that, it's like this makeup company has like all these like YouTube type people compete to do like big makeup looks. It's so cool. I watched it last year. I was super into it. I actually submitted a video for it last year, but honestly, I I don't know anything about makeup compared to these people. They did such an awesome job. And then the year before that, you guys might know Glam and Glore. She won. So I'm so excited for the Nick's Face Awards, if you guys are. If not, it's just a little something. So you can watch the Nick's Face Awards. So like, I think it's like 20 people are in the first round, and you kind of just have to search Nick's Face Awards to see the 20 people who are submitting looks. It's really cool. Last year they had like an anime look. That was pretty tight. And I really like when people who don't have huge followings like enter and kick ass. So that should be really cool. Let me see. Trying to read these comments. They're like flying by. Oh my god, I loved yesterday's stream. Whoops. Yeah, it was like getting late, and I was like, let me try and do this. Sorry about police activity, Philadelphia. So yeah, I messed that whole thing up. But yeah, whoops. Oh, so yesterday I did have that vegan cookies and cream ice cream. I'll pull it up if you guys don't follow me on the Instagram. Sorry, my hands are shaking. So I had that yesterday. I don't know if because it was like melted when I got home, it wasn't that good. But I also feel like lukewarm ice cream is just nasty to begin with. I like got home from the grocery store, so that's like 25 minutes. I shopped for 25 minutes. So that ice cream was out of the freezer for 1 hour when I fixed myself a big bowl of it. And I hated it. It was gross. So I think once it's like really frozen, I'm gonna like it because it was really good. And like if Ben and Jerry's is like $6, I'm pretty sure the Breyers, which is like a bigger carton, was a comparable price. I don't know. I don't know where else it's available. It just came to Philly because I've been looking for it for weeks. I think it like started in California and then worked its way over here. I don't know. Oh my god, Quack Nude. Yes. Is that how you guys pronounce it? Because I only say Quack Nude in my mind if I'm not saying like because I don't know. I get that Quicken is, it doesn't roll off of the tongue. But so I was walking over here. I just finished all my laundry, and I ran into this like handyman that I'm friends with in the neighborhood, and he was like, "Oh, I'm cleaning out this apartment. Like all these chicks lived in this apartment, and they left so much stuff behind." And he was like, "Do you need anything for your apartment?" And I was like, "I just like to see how people live. Can I come with you?" So he let me like pick out some stuff that these like women left behind, and it's kind of crazy. I was like, people really just move out and like leave shit behind? And he was like, yeah, we have like a warehouse full of stuff that people leave behind, like because he works. I think he's the only handyman for like this landlord who owns all these places. I couldn't believe the stuff that people left behind was crazy. My old roommate would have thrived because it was like half-used cleaning products, and it's like, why not take those home anyway? I mean, they're sterile, right? So like Windex, Clorox, bleach, magic eraser, the box is already open, all that stuff. Honestly, in my old house, my roommate would only like use chemicals if like we scavenge them, which is fine. All of this stuff, they left stuff in their closet, an air mattress, they left their sofa, like, wish I didn't already have mine. They left their TV. They left an unopened box of Cliff Bars. But that tangent aside, when I walked up to their apartment, they had this like lovely arrangement that sits at their door. So I snagged that thing with a little bit of potpourri in it. Woo! We like took it and hosed it off, and I was like, I don't think we should hose this off, but gotta sterilize. That's so crazy. I think being a handyman must be like so fucking cool because you know how to fix things. You run into stuff. But he did tell me once that one of his tenants like fell asleep with their sink on, which sounds insane. Fell asleep with their sink on, and it ran all night. And I guess like if you don't have a really good drain, if it's running full blast all night, so it destroyed the apartment. The like floor collapsed. And he was like, yeah, I took away their sink privileges and I took my time replacing it. I was like, you punch those college kids. Also me though. Oh my god. So this pin that I'm wearing, this is from Gloom. You ever like not say anything out loud? Gloom something. Let me pull it up. Gloomology? That sounds fake. Gloomology. So this is their Instagram. Can we see that? I'm pretty sure they still have these swan boat pins, and I'm almost positive they're on sale. So that's where I got this pin, and I can show it to you guys. So I thought this was super cool if I got a swan boat pin. It just made a ton of sense to have one. So I'm trying to like read the chat. It's hard. I really want to see it. So yeah, this is my little pin. I'm actually, I'm working on like 5 DIY projects right now. And I have this like DIY, I'll get it. I was like, I'm gonna get one of these little hoop daddies from AC Moore and put canvas in it because I bought all this canvas to make patches, and I feel like that would look cool over there. I used to have all of my pins just like hung up, like kind of on this, but it looked really cluttered, so yeah, the potpourri is staying in the hallway. It could be haunted, so I gotta keep it out there to begin with, but I kind of just like coming up to the house and seeing it out there. My welcome mat should probably be on the outside of my apartment. I mean, everyone who lives in this building who I've encountered is really cool, so I don't think anyone would steal my potpourri. And if they need it that bad, they can have it. So someone has said they're scared of pins ruining their clothing. I mean, it's true. I tend to wear, like, I don't know, I tend to, like, not super care. It's never, I actually washed this sweater with this pin on it. It's kind of, like, bent. But, these rubber backs, I feel like, are the best to have for your pins, unless you have the locking pin backs, because I have a lot of success washing my pins in my laundry just like by accident, and they always come out alive. I had my Quicken pins and my Bronco pins made with the same rubber pin backs because I just think they're my favorite personally. And I feel like they're heavy duty wear. And they're like more, I don't know, the metal pin backs are scary. I'm not about them. Whew. It's a little toasty over here in Philadelphia. So there's a bee in my garden, my window box, let's be real. And that's cool. I'm happy to help the bees, but the window box is like really failing. Somebody messaged me and they were like, how dare you put rhododendron in the box? And I was like, whoops. I don't know. I don't know what any of these flowers are called. I only know the word rhododendron because it's in that one Me Without You song. So I was like, rhododendron? What's that song? The Beetle and the Haystack? I love Me Without You. Then my planter box died, so. Oh well. I have a serious tattoo question. What do you do if you have acne and you want to get tattooed? Is it going to be a problem? So, I've never had like really severe acne, but let's get into it. TMI, let me even pull up my back tattoo. So, on my back, I have this like, oh my god, why the fuck? Ugh. I have, help me God. So, I have this reoccurring pimple on my back. I hate myself. And it is a big, deep, I guess, cystic pimple. Please let the internet go out. So I have this big pimple, and I'm trying to pull up the picture of my back tattoo because you can see it. And I remember Mark took that picture of my back, and I was like, yes, finally I accomplished this deed. I am without needing to get this tattoo anymore. And then I saw the picture, and I was like, the fucking pimple. So Mark never said anything about my back. So it's gonna be, oh my god, how do we zoom? So the pimple is right there. If you see that hole right there. So that is just a big open crevice between you and me. That used to be a giant pimple, and it was no problem when I got the back tattoo. He didn't even say anything, like, could you at least pop that before you come here? He didn't say anything at all. All it looks like is that he just, like, inked that fucker up. And, yeah, that pimple used to be really bad. I'd have to, like, beg my roommate to pop it. But that was never a problem. So I think if you have serious back knee all the time, though, I can't really pretend that I've ever had it. I mean, I get kind of like pimples here and there, definitely on my back. All I can say is like do your best to clear it up and really enter some sort of routine where you're like cleaning your back all the time. Maybe like salicylic acid body wash, and I guess clear up your back the best you can. Get the tattoo, and then the healing is fine. Pimples aren't going to like ruin your tattoo unless you're like popping them all the time. I'm sorry, guys. So, anyway, that is my advice if you might have back knee and you want a back tattoo. Drink a lot of water, and yeah, the best of luck. It sucks. Like, there's questions I always want to answer, but I don't have any experience. So searching for people to give me that experience is hard too. Because, like, I would love to make a video where it's like, this is what I did to get my tattoos, even though I have acne. But I would have to approach someone and be like, hey, I noticed that you have a lot of acne. Do you want to talk on my show? So that's kind of hard. But so this weekend, so this Friday, I actually have a really cool like on location Tattoo Talk Tuesday. I've been mentioning this like guy Teague in like 2 of my videos, and I was talking to him and I was like, you gotta be on my show, dude. You gotta be on my show. And he's probably like, who the fuck are you with this show? What show? YouTube? We all have shows. He probably didn't say that. He's probably great. So, after I did the Friday the 13th episode at Electric Temple, if you've ever seen that, I was talking to Brian Holland from Electric Temple, and he's like, you gotta follow this guy Teague. He's the next big fucking thing. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And you gotta check him out. I swear he only has like 1,000 followers, but he's doing American traditional so well. It's very like that Max Kuhn kind of like, I don't know, like gritty train track tattoos. Don't quote me. So I got a hold of Teague like 2 months ago, and I was like, hey, would you want to do an episode of Tattoo Talk Tuesday about tattoo schools? And I was like telling him like, this is how I feel about tattoo schools, and is this how you feel about tattoo schools? And I was like, as an apprentice myself, this is how I feel about tattoo schools. And I think he was just like, cool. So, like 2 weeks ago, I had to ask him a question about tattoo freckles. Tattoos over freckles. And I was like, Teague, let me ask you a question because I'm not a tattoo artist. I'm no authority on this. And he said, hey, I have a good idea for your Tattoo Talk Tuesday. And I was like, what is it? I need ideas. So we're going to do rural tattoos. I think it's such a good idea. Teague gave me that idea, and I like the second he like it said like typing, the second he hit send and I saw that, it was like a wave of great ideas came. And it's so awesome. So I don't know. So if you have anything that you want rural tattoos versus city tattooing, I think it's an amazing concept. Definitely hit me up on Twitter if you want your question asked. Pits. If you have a question that you want answered for the like rural tattooing Tattoo Talk Tuesday, because apparently Teague is like from rural Georgia, which means he's gonna have an accent, right? I don't know. I've never met him. I don't know Teague. He just comes up in a lot of my videos. Rural tattooing. And it's so cool because I'm like really hunched over. It's so cool because I primarily get tattooed in the city. Even when I lived in a more suburban area, I would travel to Philadelphia or travel to New York to get tattooed. I've never gone inward to get tattooed. I've never gone into like central Pennsylvania to get tattooed. And it's like, Pennsylvania is really big. And isn't one of the girls from like Orange is the New Black, like one of them is like named Pennsyltucky, because Pennsylvania is for real. Like we can all hide in Philadelphia and like be like vegan options, but you can like go to Pennsylvania. Crazy. But let's see. Let me read some of these comments. Oh, oral tattoo. No, am I saying rural right? Rural juror. So I think that's gonna be super cool. So I'm gonna have to take the train out into the boonies of Pennsylvania, but I'm really eager. So here's the thing between you and me and everyone watching. So Teague said, you can get a tattoo. You come here, you can come get a tattoo. And I was like, no, that's a very generous thing. Although I have asked Teague if he needed a haircut. But, so Teague said I could get a tattoo, and I think that would be really cool. So I was thinking of like rural tattoo ideas, because I always have a ton of Joanna Newsom tattoos I want, just off the top of the head. And all of that, like, so, and let me know in the comments, when you hear the word rural, and you may live rurally already, so you're like, Amanda, that's just my life. When you hear rural, what kind of imagery do you think of? Because when I was like coming up with concepts for the show, I kept thinking like wind chimes, like sitting on your porch, like a wicker chair, and the rain. I kept thinking of the rain. So, I don't know. But then in my, I'm like trying to research, I'm like, what's a rain tattoo? I even messaged him and I was like, do you ever tattoo the rain? He said no. So, I don't know. But I came up with 2 ideas and I'm going to run them past, well, I did run them past him, but I'm really excited. So, if you think of anything, hit me up on Twitter, girl. My handle is Quiet Cool Kid, spelled out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited though. As Tattoo Talk Tuesday gets more traction, because I don't think I'm a better producer than I ever was. But as Tattoo Talk Tuesday, I feel like as I understand more of a language to talk to people and I get more like used to it, it's easier for me to approach people. So I don't know. So interviewing Teague this weekend, which is going to be super cool, and then I have another interview, and that one's going to be awesome. So I'll just tell you that it's this tattoo shop that I found that's a safe space. That's going to be so fucking cool. I'm so excited for that. And I just want to thank you guys. You give me all of the all the tools and the confidence and all the feedback that helps me find people or find topics for Tattoo Talk Tuesday. And broken record, I say this every time I have a guest, Tattoo Talk Tuesday is just the conversations that people with tattoos really have. It's not about living moss and all that shit. It's definitely just people hanging out together and sharing a conversation. So it's really cool that Tattoo Talk Tuesday can become that. So is there a difference between rural tattoos and city tattoos? Not techniques, but honest. So I feel like I want to know. I'm taking the train to see Teague, with a really open mind to figure out what those differences are. But in my mind, they have to be different. Because if you have a street shop, Rose Tattoo, for example. Rose Tattoo is a street shop that takes walk-ins and is also appointment only. A bunch of people work there. People can walk by. You walk by it every day, and you're like, I've always been meaning to go in that Rose Tattoo. But if you work in a rural spot, I think your target clientele is all by word of mouth. And I feel like word of mouth is such a dying thing. There's not a ton of things that people will accept recommendations for anymore because they go on Yelp or they go on Instagram. So I'm so excited. I have no idea. But when I do Tattoo Talk Tuesday and I interview somebody, I normally I'll normally do like some mock questions beforehand. So I don't know. Like I told Teague that I was like, we can have a fake interview before we have our real interview, and he said that like he's not camera shy and that he's okay with like talking to the camera. So I was like, okay, you take the reins because I don't even know what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't know. So not many people who are super good at tattooing live in rural areas because they know you can make a lot more money in cities. It's definitely true. So if any of you guys follow Dan Santorum, he was tattooing in New York, and then now he only tattoos in the Poconos. And the Poconos are like kind of a rural-ish part of Pennsylvania. So I was going through his Instagram today, and he actually has like campsites and like cabins that he recommends that you can stay at if you want to come to him and get tattooed. I'm definitely going to mention that on Friday to Teague because I think that that's crazy. But then I was like, kind of want to go to the Poconos and get tattooed and hang out in the cabin, but I'd want to swim. I'd have to get tattooed the last day. What's the best way of hiding a tattoo from your parents? Best placement and clothes to wear. So, I have a tattoo on my hip, and I never had to hide it from my parents, but I also think that, sorry, police or something. I think that your hips are going to be a great place to get tattooed because you can show it off if you want to, kind of. I have a high-waisted bathing suit that completely covers that tattoo. It's like I don't have it. And your parents will never know unless you're wearing like low-rise jeans, and I don't know if most of us do anymore. So I would say get it on your hip if you don't want your parents to know. And don't tell them. Don't ever tell them. You never ever have to tell them. I've heard lip tattoos are temporary. How long ago did you get yours and did it fade? It never faded. I had mine done in 2009, so it's still as dark as the day I fucking got it. But then again, I don't know. I thought they would fade. I went and like had some money on the weekend. You know, I had off at McDonald's 2 days in a row. And I was like, let's get fucking tattoos. The guy who did the tattoo told me it would fade. I actually got turned down by the first person to tattoo it because they were like, I don't do those bullshit tattoos. My tattoo has never faded. And I had braces when I got it. So I was like, oh, they're just going to cheese grate that thing right out of there. No, it's still in there. And I feel like people see it. No matter, like, if I'm talking to somebody for a while, I always know that they've, like, zoned out. If they're like, is there a tattoo in your mouth? I'm like, maybe. The worst. Are you enjoying living alone? Are you having a hard time seeing as you were always living with somebody else? So I thought so at first, and I guess it's not, like, honestly, I guess it's not a fair representation of, like, living alone because I can always flip open my laptop or I can, like, just go outside, and I live in a, like, very populated city, so I never, like, feel too alone. I think maybe if I lived alone in the suburbs, it might be more challenging, but whenever I'm feeling lonely, I'll just find an excuse to go and do something. And I'm not like Miss Popularity Contest in real life. So like me going out and doing something isn't like, hey girl, you want to try and get together? It's mostly just like, oh, I should walk to the deli and get a new vegetable drink that I wanted. Or I should walk to the deli and get an ice cream sandwich because I keep a lot of ice cream in my home. I don't know where I was going with that, but I do go to the deli a lot to get ice cream sandwiches. And if I'm gonna go somewhere, I'll take like the long way and I'll like walk through the park and like run into people and I'm not physically running into them, but I'll like take a look at what they're doing. I'll smile at their dog. I'll look at their baby. I'll read their phone. And I'll just like immerse myself in like things that are happening. And I'm usually like a bike commuter, but I found myself recently like wanting to take the train. And I think a lot of that has to do with like just kind of wanting to be around real people and not like presentations of people on the internet. And it's really cool to be around like organic people. And I'm not brave enough to be like, excuse me, miss, you look cool. Do you want to start something? Like, I'm not there yet. But whenever I feel lonely, there's just so many excuses for me to go out and definitely not like actually interact with people. Like, not gonna lie, I'm not good at it. But it's cool. Like, instead of getting my coffee to go, I'll kind of just sit there and check my phone or just like talk to the barista. I talked to the one barista in my neighborhood all day. I was like, girl, don't even start 13 Reasons Why. And she was like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, how much time do you have? Am I the only one in line? So I don't know. So whenever you feel alone, you get all creepy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's great to live in the city because you're just around so many people. And sometimes you never feel alone. And sometimes you are getting really creepy, but I don't know. Do you ever feel like you're not cool enough to be in a tattoo shop? I feel like that whenever I get a tattoo. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I go to a tattoo shop and, like, sometimes I get worried that, like, I don't have enough tattoos or that, like, I have a tattoo by somebody that may be, like, unfavorable or, like, somebody called them a Voldemort once. Someone was like, oh, I have a tattoo by this, like, Voldemort-ass guy. And I was like, I've never heard anyone say it like that. I don't know. I have a ton of feelings in tattoo shops, but not Rose Tattoo. When I go to Rose Tattoo, I feel really good. I feel comfortable. I don't know, like, it's just a really good vibe there. And I feel like there can be tattoo shops where there's, like, ego and there's, like, cool stuff and there's cool guys and they, like, project that really, really hard. So sometimes it's, like, if you can recognize that, that might help. If, like, some, like, dude is, like, really projecting really hard in the corner. But I don't know. Honestly, though, none of it really matters, and I know that's hard to say because you sit in a tattoo shop for fucking hours and weeks and years, but my door was closed. I don't know. It's hard because you're exposed, you're naked, you're butt naked in the tattoo shop, and you're not cool enough, but we get through it. Someone said, can you talk about the experience stretching your philtrum? So I think I got my philtrum pierced in my teens, probably 19. And I had it pierced at a 6 gauge. No, right? I think I had it pierced at an 8 gauge. So the diameter of the needle was that big. Pierced like that. You can kind of see, like, this, like, Cupid's bow area, whatever we call it, is, like, straight down like this. And then my philtrum is, like, not exactly straight. But when I used to wear jewelry, whoop, it would straighten out. And the piercer was like, I'm going to tell you this. We got to pierce it like this. When you wear the jewelry, it'll look great. And I was like, cool. I'll die with this jewelry in. Then 2014 came around and I was like, oh, I need a job. So I stretched my philtrum, I think, 2 times because before I took it out, it was at a 4 gauge. Do we have a photo? I think there's a photo on my Twitter. It hurt a lot. It was the worst. But I really did like the way it looked. And I also, like, see how it's, like, so unstraight? I liked having that more straightened with the jewelry inside. So, I don't know. The scar is forever. And I don't want to sound like a broken record because I've probably said it on this channel before, but I like the way the scar looks because I feel like I'm employable. I'm kidding. I think that like people can see the scar and understand that I was interested in body modification culture and that I went hard with the 4-gauge philtrum, but I don't know. So this is what it looks like if your philtrum is stretched to a 4-gauge and you take the jewelry out. The jewelry's been out for a long time, many years, and it's closed on the inside of my mouth. Like I can't spray water through it anymore, but I mean on my physical face it's open. So my ex had his philtrum stretched to a 2, and he had his with plastic surgery. He had his reconstructed. But now he wears a mustache, so I'm like, what's under there? A little botch surgery? Actually, I think it looks fine. It kind of just looks like a scar, like from birth on him. I just think though it's like a white scar, and I just think that like someone who can grow a mustache can kind of cover that a little bit, or like have a little stubble, and you don't see that scar really visibly. I just feel like on me, you're wearing that scar all the time, and what if the scar from the reconstructive surgery is worse? I don't know. The scars on my nostrils are pretty bad too, but you guys only ever see me like this. You don't know that I have this crooked ass nose. So I don't know. Scarface. I do it for rep. I don't know. But it's cool. I mean, sometimes I think it's awful when I worked at the coffee shop. This like super like fucking bro dude wearing flip flops in like November came to the coffee booth and he was like, "Hey, did you get shot in the face with a BB gun?" And I didn't take his order. I was like, "Excuse me? That's incredibly rude." And he was like, "What did I say?" And my manager came over and I was like, he asked me if I got shot in the lip with a BB gun. And my manager was like, "You said that to her?" And then I didn't take his order. I never saw him again either. But like, that's fucked up. Like, he asked it with such curiosity that like, I feel like he wasn't kidding. So, it's like I work in a very physical, like, I'm touching clients all the time, but I don't run into as much trouble as I did at the coffee shop. There needs to be reform for service workers who handle your food. Because as shampoo girl, people are just like very understanding, very nice. I mean, some of them are very particular, like wound up so fucking tight, and you're like, lady, take a laxative. But it's never anything like the coffee shop. All the baristas in the audience, a kiss for you. 100 kisses for you. I love coffee. I love all of you. I tip every time. I get the most basic thing on the menu. I don't want to bother you. I just want to be with you. Whew. So I installed a mirror today in my room. One of these IKEA mirrors, and I did not know it was so heavy. Do we like that? I'm gonna take some full body selfies, girl. I can't wait. Starbucks baristas say word. Starbucks has to be a hard job. It just has to be a hard job. Somebody was reading an article about one of the baristas was complaining about unicorn frappuccino. And I was like, can you blame the woman? I hope she's not fired over this shit. So, Starbucks drama. There is a Starbucks on Chestnut Street downtown that has a keypad lock. And I've known this bathroom enough when it just used to be a key. And now they switched it to even more security. So the key wasn't enough to keep the people out. So a police officer went in there and he was like, "Hey, can I use your restroom?" And the girl said, "It's for customers only." And the news showed up. The news showed up to the Starbucks on Chestnut Street, and the whole time I'm like, that girl is fired. She's never gonna work again. Ever. I think he like put out a word and like described her. Oh my god. So all the Starbucks baristas out there, raise your hand. That's some hard ass shit. Oh my god. How did you become a shampoo girl? So I went to beauty school and I was scheduled to graduate like January 13th. I'm pretty sure that's right. And one of my friends worked at the salon. So it's funny because I wanted to work at that salon, and in like that previous July, I had gotten my hair done there because I wanted to like be a spy and like see what it was like. But it's not spying. I paid a lot of money. So I did my spying there, and then I like a little bit later I wanted to interview there. And somebody interviewed me and they were like, "Oh, all right, show up to like one of our classes." So I showed up to like 3 classes. The 4th class was canceled, and then I wasn't invited back to the 5th class. So I was like, "Oh, it's because I'm ugly." So later that January, one of the assistants who worked there was like, "Oh, I wish someone else worked here. There's so much work to be done." And I was like, "I tried to work there and they didn't let me in." And she was like, "Oh my god, just come back for another interview." And I was like, that seems informal. I'm nervous. I need structure. But then I literally just like called the salon and I was like, "Do you need help like at all? Like sometimes?" And they were like, "Yes." So I interviewed again and I got it. So if that was like January 13th, I started working there like by the 20th. So not enough time to go to Europe after beauty school, unfortunately. And I've been there ever since. So that was like just me, right place, right time. It didn't have anything to do with the beauty school I went to. It was just a like high volume salon needed a lot of help. So I swooped in. How bad did your sternum piece hurt? I'm going to get one next month and I'm very nervous. So my tattoo on my sternum is very small. I'm like not a cowboy for any of that. So I like feel bad when people ask me because I'm like, there are women out here with the full fucking thing and I just have a little bee and 2 chopsticks. So the bee was hard because your lungs are right there. So you're like trying to breathe. And in your mind, you're like, I'm going to take this breath and it's going to make a crooked line and I'm going to have to live with it forever. I'll never be able to look at my boobs again. So all that stress, you're like, but you're so in your head about breathing that the tattoo's done. But yeah, it did hurt. I wore a sports bra, like your grandmother's sports bra, so like a whole, like with sleeves, like a whole sports bra. And then I wore the same sports bra to get the like floral part of the tattoo. I got that like 2 years later. That didn't hurt at all, but I was also in the middle of getting my back tattooed, like in between sessions. So it was like a relief to have a tattoo that was not on my back. Getting your front tattooed is way easier than the back. Don't let anybody on Miami Ink tell you differently. That shit was awful. I hated it. I have to get the bottom of my back finished. I don't know when I'm going to start saving for that. That's like, if I start to save for it, that means I actually have to get it. So I'm like, no, let me put Ethan through college first. But the tattoo I'm getting from Teague is the first tattoo I'm actually getting for a while. It's exciting. I mean, after the tattoo convention, some of you guys know that like that was a lot of pressure on me, and I think that like getting tattooed there, as well as like being so overstimulated by like convention and crowds, and you guys might know that I actually had a hard time getting into the convention. even though I was invited to go. So when I got tattooed that weekend, it like exhausted me and it put me in a really weird place. And I was like, no more tattoos, that's it. No more tattoos in your life. That's it. So when Teague actually offered to tattoo me, it took me like 4 days to respond to him. I was like, I can't take that from you. I'll die. So I'm actually really excited. He told me not to go so small either, but I was like, I can't get this big ass tattoo from you. And then I don't know where to put it. Whenever people are like, oh, like, are you ever gonna run out of space? It's a little scary. Because I don't know. And then, like, a lot of the tattoos I need are in my inner thigh, but I don't want Teague to tattoo my inner thigh, like, right off the bat. Hey, Teague, my real name's Amanda. Let me change into some booty shorts. I had Jesse Preston tattoo my inner thigh, like, 4 summers ago, and the whole time I was like, whoo! Jesse, please, I'm sorry if I'm sweating. Oh my god, so, I don't know. I have no idea where I want this tattoo. Now I have this mirror, I can go look in the mirror and prepare for it. You have great taste in making your house look beautiful. What other talents do you have hidden from us? Oh. When I worked at McDonald's, I used to record myself making sandwiches as fast as possible. I have all those videos, and I'll never delete them because I'm the fastest. I can make a quarter pounder like this. No, I don't know if I have any hidden talents. I read something once that ruined my life that was like, oh, I'm only halfway good at like 10 things, but I'm not really good at one thing. And I was like, oh, that's me. Why do I log on to Tumblr? I have a class at my salon at 5, and Angela from the water club wanted to meet up beforehand, and I'm out of BB cream. Let me tell her yes. Yes, what time? So these are my new shoes, and they're not new, because I got them in like November, but I was like, bitch, you can't wear these in November. So I'm breaking them in right now. They are fake leather from Forever 21, but the other day, I watched that movie, The True Cost, because Marzia recommended it to me, and I love her videos. I don't watch enough of them. I really do like them. So I watched it, and now I just feel awful. But here's the whole thing. I have such a hard time with fast fashion because, like, I like to go to the thrift store. I like to get stuff from the thrift store, like, no doubt. But sometimes, like, you'll pick up something from the thrift store that is, like, for example, this shirt is thrifted, but it has an H&M tag. So people are like, where's that from? And you're like, the thrift store. And they're like, I hate that. I hate when, like, because someone wants to buy the same thing that you recommend. So you're like, oh, where's this from? And I'm like, someone's grandma. It's from the thrift store. And they're like, you can't just tell me where it's from. So, I don't know. So then you buy fast fashion secondhand, and you're like, oh, I'm cutting out the middleman. But this is like a very vegan conversation you have with yourself about like buying leather. And you're like, oh, I don't buy leather brand new, but I buy leather secondhand. But then people are like, oh, where'd you get those brown shoes that you wear all the time? I'm like, oh, you can't get them. They're from my grandma, but they're made of leather. So if you try to buy a replica of them, you're buying leather? I don't know. 1 second. I knew my nose would run, so I can't do live streams. And I have a sweat from like this roll. So what do you guys think about fast fashion? I think it's really hard to avoid. And when I watched the documentary, they like didn't offer solutions. They were like, this is what happens. Uh-oh. But like I'm not a very educated mind, so I'm like, where do those people who work in sweatshops, where do they work if they can't make those clothes? And I know that's a very like uneducated thought, and like I don't know. That's like the question I had. So I know that that's like not a fair thought to have, but oh, I don't know. What do you? I just need more information about it. Like I watched the documentary. If you're just here, I watched a documentary about fast fashion and how it pollutes the earth and how the people who work for fast fashion industry are very like mistreated and their buildings catch on fire and they go on strike and their government shuts down the strike. It's really awful, and then it trickles down and you're like, what do I do as a consumer to help with all these things? I don't know. It's really hard. So I kind of thought, like, I'm doing all this laundry, and I'm just like, I wish I could give these clothes to somebody else. And I also thought I would, like, I love doing haul videos. Like, I love that shit. And even in the True Cost documentary, they, like, showed YouTubers. And I was like, damn, they're coming right at me, right at my throat. They showed a girl who was like, I bought this, but I don't even like it. They literally showed a girl do that. And I was like, oh my god, consumers. I don't shop at Forever 21 a lot. And, like, if you watch my IMATS blog, I like to go to shops and get inspired. Like, I went through Topshop and I was like, oh, checkered flannel, I already have that. Oh, this, like, I already have that. So it's cool to see, like, how people style things and kind of refresh what you have. So I'm trying to do that. I also think, like, if any of you guys are in Philadelphia area or Pennsylvania area, Delaware, New Jersey, definitely follow me on Twitter because I think I'm going to be getting rid of a lot more clothes very soon. And what I like to do is I like to just get a huge box of clothes and, like, just give it to somebody. I really want to do that. So follow me on Twitter, and I'll probably be doing that really soon. I traded, like, a big box of clothes to a girl who lives around here. She said she was just moving, and I thought it would be really cool to, like, give her some stuff to start out with. When I met up with her, she brought her 2 friends, and, like, all of them, I didn't ask, but I imagine, like, they all went in on it, because it was so much stuff. And that was, like, really cool for me. I really like that. And then I had that $50, I used it at IMATS. So I think it would be cool to, like, do something like that again. And that way that money kind of, like, fortifies the channel. And then I also kind of feel better. I don't know if this all is coming off really weird. And then I had a bunch of makeup that I traded for a portrait of Ethan. So I think that stuff like that, these are just, like, little solutions to, like, going around, like, that fast fashion kind of thing. But at the same time, we're so expected to stay in trend. So, I don't know. Like, for my thrift store list, it sucks. I filmed a thrift store haul, like, a few months ago, and then my world fell apart, so I didn't re-record it. But I was like, what's in trend? White jeans. I found a pair of white jeans at the thrift store. Bodycon skirt. It was so cool. And it's like figuring out what's in trend and then supplementing those things at your local thrift store. Boop. It's really fun. But in that documentary, they did say that so much shit goes to the thrift store that thrift stores, what was the percentage? They said the thrift store gets like 13% of everything that's donated, and then the rest of the stuff like goes to Haiti. And then people in Haiti are like swagged out in all our clothes, but then it like diminishes their industry as well because locals aren't buying local clothing anymore. They're wearing American clothing. When do you win? You can't. Everything is the worst. We watch these documentaries so that we can be informed, and at the end of the night, we feel awful, we eat all the ice cream. I don't know. It's really hard. Sorry, I'm texting Angela. We like hang out. Oh my god. So I'm really excited. So two of my coworkers, they always talk about this like goth night, this like goth dance night, and I've never been dancing. I've never been to a club. I've never heard loud music before. And always as a joke, I'm like, oh, you ladies going to goth night? See you there. And they finally called me out. They were like, this Saturday, are you coming with us to goth night? And I was like, oh my god, this has been satire for months. And I was like, fuck it, let's go. I'll be there. Goth Night Philadelphia, I'll be there. Unsponsored. I'm just going. I'm showing up. I bought all this blue lipstick for something. It's for Goth Night. So I guess I'm going to Goth Night. I don't know what to wear. Or what to expect. But, so if you've ever seen that episode of South Park with the goth kids who dance like this, I was like, fuck. Trey Parker's in my room right now, because that is how I dance. Like, if I'm listening to Cure, I'm like... So, catch me at Goth Night dancing exactly like that. I've never done anything social. I'm 27. And here's the thought process. There's so many times that the people around me, I want to spend time with them, and then I tell myself, I'm exhausted, and I go home. And this has been this, like, cycle that I've been stuck in for a really long time. And it's fun, because I can say, oh, the winter, the sun, I'm so exhausted. But now I, like, hear myself still saying it. And I went to the True Hand tattoo party, tattoo grand opening space party, tattoo shop. And that was Saturday, and when I saw the Instagram post, I was like, I really want to go! And then even at work, I was like, man, tonight, Saturday night, I'm going to go home, I'm going to go to the deli, I'm going to watch that Kevin Hart special, I'm going to wear sweatpants. And my coworker was like, are you stoked to go to the party? And I was like, oh, I'm exhausted. And then I was like, shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm telling you, you never go to these places, you never go out. So I went, and I had so much fun. But that's when they got me for Goth Night. They were like, seeing that you're out. Let me know if you guys are like this, if you find yourself caught in this kind of thing where it's like your friends are all doing stuff, and you can't wait to make an excuse to not go. And I see memes like it too, where it's like someone like this, like, my friend just canceled our plans for the night, and you're like tucked into the bed. There's that one Vine where the girl calls the guy, and she's like, hey, sorry, I can't make it tonight. And he's already tucked in, like, oh, that's a shame. That's me. I'm trying to break that cycle. And I don't want to. It's all like a very small subconscious that's like, hey, Amanda, maybe you should go outside and gain some new experiences. You've been telling the same stories a lot lately. In my public speaking class at Community College of Philadelphia, I wrote a speech about how making plans on the internet are not as effective as making plans in real life. 5 years later, I am so deep into that shit. I'm like, I'm calling myself out. I'm a hypocrite. I'm that Bill Nye meme that we debunked. But I don't know. Can all your videos be in that voice? The fucked up thing is this is how I really talk in life. I have like Philadelphia accent that is like really hard to shake. People are like, why do you say radiator? And I'm like, well, my grandma said radiator. And my roommate said radiator. You guys don't say radiator. We say radiator. So then I'm like, well, I was tuning the radiator because there was a draft in the parlor. There's not a ton of Philadelphia slang. that I think I say, especially one-way communication. But I think with back and forth, it comes up a lot more. Like, definitely in my Mike King interview, Michael Sweater interview, I feel like there was a lot of, like, I don't know, like Philly dialect that came out. And you gotta pull it back. You gotta pull it back. Like, there's an event. I mean, we all remember John. Some of us were forcing saying John. Like, oh, what time are you gonna be at the John? But sometimes, every once in a while, John slips out. And I'm like, oh no, we don't actually say it. How dare you? My friend from New Orleans, he moved to New Orleans like almost overnight. We used to share the studio space together. That you guys probably, I never filmed there. So he had to move out, and I ran into him yesterday. I was like, hey man, and he was like, man, people in New Orleans are like say some crazy shit. He was like, everybody I run into calls me baby. Grown men call me baby. They're like, hey baby, thanks for opening that door for me. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. I would like that. I mean, I'm all like, don't catcall me. But if everybody across the board is saying baby all the time, I like that. So I was like, oh man, sounds like it's really hard living out there in Louisiana. So he said, yeah. And I started to say, y'all. And I was like, I forgive you because when I lived in Texas, I used to say you guys, because you guys is a Philly thing. I say, hey, what are you guys doing later? People are like, you're going to call me you guys? You see these breasts? And I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm not from Houston. I love lemonade. But when I was in Texas, I was saying you guys, and I had to stop saying it because it just like didn't translate. So I came back from Texas saying y'all. I mean, it left me, and now I say you guys again, and I say im, which is fucked up. But I don't know. Let me know if there's anything that you kind of say, or if you've ever been somewhere and picked up a dialect. I don't think it's like the Madonna, like Madonna went to England and then came back with like an English accent. I don't know how true that is, but let me know. Have you ever picked up anything? Any little dialects? So this is the, wait, I know how to say, I've been saying this wrong. So I thought it was Tony Moly. It's Tony Moly. So this is Tony Moly lip tint. So when I bought this, it was in a display that said like, from Korea, beauty, not tested on animals. So I bought a ton of this stuff. And then I posted a video about it, and the third comment was like, tested on animals. So I have so much of this left over. And I love the way it looks. At least I have a ton of it. But that's what this lip color is. I love these little lip tints. My friend works at Sephora, and she gave me a bunch of lip tints that she got in her gratis. And the Sephora lip tints are really cute too. But to avoid a vegan error, they must be given to you for free. Or you have to apprehend them via dumpster diving. I got really into those dumpster diving videos that were on YouTube for a very long time. I haven't watched any recently, but ooh, I love them. So I'm going to, so my class downtown, ooh, Mark just posted this. Can I get an amen for that? So I'm meeting Angela downtown. Our class is actually at 5. So I am going to cut this live stream. I'm not going to lie and say I've never talked to myself this long, because that isn't even true. But this was a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a really cool thing. I feel like this was the most, like, direct way to talk to you guys. I know that it's notorious over here on the QCKND channel to talk for hours and hours. But yeah, I don't know. I had this video planned. Shut up. I had this video planned talking about long videos, but honestly, they are the videos I like, and they are the videos I tend to produce. Ugh. So let me know what you thought of the live channel. Let me know on Twitter, or I don't know if I can reread these comments later. Let me know what you think of the live videos. I think that they're fun. I think this went over well. I'm not sure. But this could be a regular thing. Thank you to everybody who super chatted. Is that the right word? That's awesome. I don't know how it works, but I'm really, really stoked. And I love you guys. You can always follow me on Twitter. Quite Cool Kid. That's my Instagram handle as well. And let me know. Monday live chats? Are we into it? And I never folded any of my laundry, so yay! Thank you guys. I love you guys. Check out Tattoo Talk Tuesday with Teague. That will be next Tuesday. I have all this DIY stuff coming out. 5 Pack Friday. I love you guys. Sorry for any delays in the channel. And until next time, bye guys.